Alright, so what we're going to do, the reason why I'm recording, is in the event that you fall behind, that you can catch up by going home and looking at the video that's online on Google Classroom, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to finish up our linear regression of how we can find it with the calculator, and we're going to re-enter this for our practice. We're going to re-enter all the data points that we got last class, okay? So follow me, please, carefully. I want you to press Home to Menu C and press OK twice to clear your calculator. Again, you'll do this every day. And then we're going to go ahead and start building our table, okay? So first off, press 1 for New Document, and press 1 just for a regular calculator page, okay? From here, we're going to add our table. We're going to press Control, Doc, that means add a page, and then we're going to press the number 4. Again, if you fall behind, just put your calculator down and look up here, please, and then you can see it later in the video. Now you're going to list all of your X values and all of your Y values from what we got last time. Just put what's on your paper. If it's a little bit different than mine, no worries, as long as it's not drastically different. So we have 2, 2, 5, 6, and then keep going. And then just all the way down, guys, listing all of your X values. 5, 2, 6, 9, 6. And we have 2, 3, 2, 4, 3, 5, 2, 6. So you should have a total of 30 points. Does that sound about right? Yep, so 2, 3, yeah, 30 points. And then go there to the second column, and we're going to enter all of our Y values. So go up all the way to row 1, and 16 is that first one, 15, and then just keep going down, and I'll meet you at the end. Just be careful and try not to skip any. Last one, which is 23. Now, once you finish putting in all of your X and Y values, please remember to go up all the way to the first row where it says A. And do y'all remember what we put last time? X, yeah, we're going to put X because that's our input variable. And for B, we're going to put Y. You have to put X and Y, otherwise it won't graph stuff. Alright, so one more reminder, this X is on the front row, first row where it says A, and then you must insert a Y. Guys, anytime that you have a window that pops up that you don't want it on the screen, like I have this window right here, any window that you want to get rid of, just press Escape and it'll get rid of it, okay? Again, go up to the very top and you need to put X where A is at, and you need to put Y where B is at. Otherwise, it will tell you that there's some kind of error to it. And then just press Enter to make sure that you've entered both of them. Now, from here, together, I want you to press Control, Doc, and you're going to add a Data and Statistics page. So you can scroll down, or you can just press 5, a Data and Statistics page. Just like we did last class, you're going to soft mouse to the X-axis, and you're going to label it X, and you see the points move around. You're going to soft mouse over to the Y-axis. You're going to click on it, and you're going to label that Y. And these are our data points. Now from here, there is a pattern that existed. We talked about this last time as far as like a line that could exist through all these data points. And if you want the calculator to actually calculate it for you, this is how we're going to do this. This is new. So here we go. From here, we will press Menu, 4 to analyze the graph, and 6 because we wanted to analyze the regression. And the type of regression that we're working with right off the bat is the linear regression. So just press 1 and it will draw a line of the linear regression that exists here. Now, let's talk about this. This is an average that exists, that if I said If I have 9 TVs, chances are I would have about 18 rooms. Remember how we did this activity? X inputs were TVs and Y outputs were the rooms. This is on average. This is where that linear regression comes into play. Now, is it going to be exactly correct? No, it's an approximation. Okay? So, let's talk about this approximation, what it comes from. R, just by itself, is a correlation coefficient. Just a fancy word to show how strong something is as far as being exact. Okay? For instance, if it's here at 1 or if it's here at -1, it's going to be a very strong correlation. That means every single point that you see would actually be exactly on that line. Now look at our graph. Are every single point on that line? No, it's not a strong correlation. Now, if at 0, it would be the weakest. So this is basically a scatter plot. There's no pattern to it. You can't even see if it's a line or if it's a parabola or anything. Okay? So it will be weaker as it goes inward. So this one, the way you can see how strong or weak it is how many points and how far they're away from. Look at that point, look at that point. You could see how far these are away. And on the bottom, this distance on all the points, this distance right here, these are called residuals. They're just errors that are off of our actual y equals mx plus b linear regression. The bigger the residual, the weaker the correlation is going to be. The smaller the residual, and they're all closer to the line, the stronger that it's going to be. So you tell me, why do I have a strong one and a strong negative one? What's your guess on that? A strong positive one is increasing, it's going up. And a strong negative one is decreasing, it's going down. So if I were to approximate this, it would probably lie about here. It's positive, and it's sort of strong. You with me? All right. So in calculus, the default is 3 decimal places. Unless you were told round to 2 decimals, round to 4, round to 6. Unless you're specifically told, by default, you're doing 3. And you're going to do that with me in algebra. All Algebra 2 classes are doing that as well this year. So please write that down, make a note of it, or whatever you need to. 3 decimals is your default, unless otherwise told. Okay. So, by looking at this, I have 3 decimals there, and I have 3 decimals there. Your linear regression equation, and this is going to be, yes, some of you are already filling it in. This is that big old box at the bottom right-hand corner of that TVs and rooms data sheet. You're going to put y equals 0.739x plus 11.538. Okay, that's your linear regression model. Okay? Now, real quick, I want you to know the difference between rounding and truncating. For instance, if I had 1.2345 and I know that I'm supposed to round to 3 decimal places, bless you, I'm going to look at this 4. Rounding, what does this 5 tell this 4 to do? Go up, right, to 5. So rounding would be 1.235. Truncating is like you just cut it off. Wherever you see 3 numbers, cut it off and only write that. Don't even look at the 5. You with me? Truncating means cut it off. Rounding means look at the next number and round up. How close are these away from each other? They're 1/1000th of a point away. So on your homework, on your CFAs, quizzes, tests, everything, for the answer piece, you can only be 1/1000th of a point off. If you're more than that, the answer piece will be wrong. Okay? But you will be fine. Any questions before we continue?
So is it rounding or truncating that you use?
To me, You could do rounding or truncating because you're going to be 1/1000th of a point off. I like to round, so I just round. Okay? All right. I believe that is it. I believe everything else. Oh, on the domain, actually that worksheet that's for homework, where is it at? The foundations of graphs. The foundations of graphs. On the bottom left, you should now be able to fill in this graph. It should look basically like my screen right here. All the dots where they're supposed to go with that nice linear regression that goes in the graph. Guys, before you start copying some of that down, please look up here. Look up here. Is this line right here allowed to have, or should it have an arrow on the right side? Yes or no? Don't be afraid to guess, please. What do you think? Should it have the line? It can, because let's say if I have more and more rooms or TVs, chances are I'm going to have more and more rooms. Like I know infinitely we can't have a house that has infinite rooms. But like theoretically we could if we wanted to, right? Just keep building. But here, should there be an arrow or should there be a point? Yes? Oh, perfect. There should be a point because you can't have negative TVs. Okay? You can't have like a -1 TV or -2 TVs. So please, on your graph, make sure you have a point to begin with and you have an arrow at the right. And then when you're finished with that, just set it off to the side. You'll turn it in at the end of the period, along with your 4 classroom forms at the end of the period. Okay. I want to continue to record because I want to go over what we were just talking about with that PSAT. So whatever sport you're in, if you're in band, you know if you don't practice, you're not going to get good. You're not going to get better. You have to practice. SAT and ACT inevitably are going to be coming your way for admissions into college, okay, or scholarships. So why not practice now? What we're going to do is going forward frequently, not every single day, but almost every single day, we're going to look at warm-ups that include Algebra 1, geometry, and something that we're kind of doing now, Algebra 2 wise, okay? And we're going to do these warm-ups. So, just to reiterate on your notes binder, so on your notes binder, this is one that's very nice. You should have dividers for your several units that you're going to have. You should have regular notebook paper. Ooh, you can graph, that's awesome. Regular notebook paper for things like this. So you could put like day 2 warm-ups. You're going to show the actual work and whatever it is that you get. And then the things, the worksheets that you grabbed on your way in, because they're hole punched already for you, you're just going to put them wherever they go. Remember, you're trying to build this as awesome as you can so that when you go to pre-cal, you can be like, let me review something real quick. And you would know exactly where to go in your binder. Okay? Questions? All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to look at the questions on day 2. Let me scroll down.
So would we put our ones in one of the dividers or just leave all of our ones back by the notebook paper?
So to me, I think you should just put your warm-ups as they go through. If you always remember that at the beginning of each day, there's going to be warm-ups. Some people might prefer to put all of their warm-ups in one space, and that would work too. I probably would do that. Put all my warm-ups in one space. You know what I mean? I won't. That's up to you. Just the first tab. The first tab is Unit 1, Tools of Algebra. Okay? All right. so what I want you to do, please look at the board. I want you to work out these problems, and guys, when we do warm-ups, on average, we're going to do each problem about 1.5 minutes, okay? 1.5 minutes is ultimately where we want to get to pace-wise. And if you don't get there, no worries. But since we're doing 2, we'll do a total of 3 minutes. I'll just reset this whenever it goes down, okay? So I'm going to pause the video while you work on those 2 for now. So resuming the video, we're going to look at the 3 warm-up questions that we had. Anyone, what's the answer to number 1? Just say it out loud. C. The answer was C. And a big part of that is this. Do you know this? So what does that symbol mean right there? Congruent. Congruent means equal and similar, okay? So this right here means similar. So I could say PQR was similar to triangle XYZ. And this is what similar means. Basically, it's the same shape, but it doesn't have to be the same size. Okay, so I could have this triangle, and I could have this triangle, where the first one is PQR, and the second one is XYZ. Important things to remember. Does order matter the way I labeled this, yes or no? It does, very much so, okay? Now, this right here is just saying that they're similar, okay? So if these are similar, there are 2 things between these graphs, or these triangles, that are the same. Can someone tell me one of the things that are going to be the same? So it's still the same shape, for sure, yeah. Same angles. So the angles are the same. In other words, this angle is the same as that, this one would be the same as this, and this angle would be the same as that. That's what similar means. What else is the same? A lot of people forget this. Not the length of the sides. The length of the sides would be congruent, like 10 and 10, or 15 and 15. It's something with the sides, but not the length. The proportions, the ratios of the sides. So let's say we had something like 7, 8, and I don't know, 11. Okay? The proportions would be the same. In other words, I could say 7 over 8, and this one could be 14. If this one's 14, what do you think YZ is? 16, right? What do you think XZ would be? 22. So you already see the proportion. So the way I did this is I said 7 over 8 would be the same over here. Okay? So the proportion would be 14 over 16. So the side ratios are the same. Just FYI review because you need to know that. Okay? Any questions on this? Okay, so C is not too difficult. Alright, so choose a marble from a bag holding 10 marbles, 10 blue, 7 green, and 9 red. So whatever that bag looks like, right? Oh, that's good enough. And I want to know, what is the probability that you would choose a red marble? Okay, how many reds do I have? 9. Out of how many? 26. And if I put this into my calculator, please look at your calculator with me. Control left, or go to 1.1 and click it. And what I want you to do is I want you to do Control divide and press 9 over 26, and then press Control enter. Guys, when you press Control enter, you're accessing that little blue squigglies. And this right here is approximately, otherwise a decimal answer. Okay, so those squigglies mean approximately, where equals means equals. Okay, just notation wise. So if you want to get a decimal, please make sure that you do Control enter, and then you will get your decimal. Questions? Okay, so what do we have? We have 0.346, which the answer became, which one? B. Okay. Now number 3. Number 3 is the tricky one. A lot of people forget this. So number 3 Let's look at the column A one. Guys, if I told you to solve for x, what would you do first? Subtract 4. You get x squared is equal to 9. Anyone, what's the answer? 3. Try one more time. It's not 3. Plus or minus 3. So plus or minus 3. Let's do this one. It would be x squared is equal to 16. Anyone, what's the answer here? Plus or minus 4. Guys, when do you know that you're going to have a plus or a minus? Whenever this number right here is an even number. It could be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, whatever. As long as it's an even number, because two negatives make a what? A positive. So when you're doing that, x squared equals a number, y squared equals a number, whatever it is, you're going to do the plus or minus. That's a huge mistake that people make in this class. Please don't forget, okay? I mean, that's a huge, huge thing that you're going to do all year. Plus or minus, okay? So the answer on this, the relation cannot be determined from the information given. Questions?